He was 8,000 miles from home when he opened the app. Just a routine check on the camera, the same thing he'd done 1,000 times before. But what he saw on that screen made his phone slip from his hands. His daughters. The girls doctors said would never stand. And a woman he'd hired 3 weeks ago. Nathan's knees buckled. Because what was happening in that playroom wasn't supposed to be possible. 3 years ago, Nathan James buried his wife on a Tuesday morning. Rebecca died on a rainy October night. She was driving home from the girls' dance recital when a drunk driver ran a red light. The impact killed her before the ambulance arrived. Bella and Charlotte, 3 years old, strapped in the back seat, survived, but their spines didn't. Nathan got the call in London. "Mr. James, your wife didn't make it. Your daughters are in surgery." He doesn't remember the flight back to Boston, just the hospital, the machines beeping, the doctor pulling up scans. Severe spinal cord damage. "Mr. James, they'll likely never walk again." Rebecca was gone. And the girls she'd prayed for through 5 years of trying, 3 rounds of IVF, 5 years of hope, would spend their lives in wheelchairs. Nathan made a promise at her grave. "I'll take care of them." But grief doesn't teach you how to keep promises, it just teaches you how to survive. He hired 8 nannies in 2 years. The first ignored the girls to scroll through her phone. The second sold photos of their equipment to a gossip site for $5,000. One stole Rebecca's jewelry. Another invited her boyfriend over when Nathan was traveling. The worst posted videos of the twins struggling during therapy. Caption: "Raising billionaire babies is not what you think." It went viral before his lawyers could pull it down. After that, Nathan stopped seeing people. He started seeing threats. He installed 17 cameras in the penthouse. Every room, every angle. He could check from anywhere. London, Tokyo, New York. He watched the feed on flights, in hotel rooms, during board meetings, looking for the lie, waiting for the next betrayal. When Hannah David walked in for her interview, he barely looked up. 28, nursing degree. Good references. He slid a folder across his desk. Follow the plan. No improvising. No false hope. The doctors were clear. Hannah met his eyes. "Mr. James, your daughters don't need someone to respect a diagnosis. They need someone to respect them." He hired her. She was number 9. She'd fail like the rest. But Hannah didn't follow the plan. She brought a small speaker into the therapy room and played old gospel music hymns her grandmother used to sing on Sunday mornings. She sat on the floor with Bella and Charlotte, moving their legs in slow, rhythmic patterns. She read them stories about little engines climbing mountains. Nathan watched through the cameras, ready to fire her. Then Bella laughed. Just a small sound. But it was the first time in over a year. Charlotte's leg twitched during the music. Both girls started lifting their heads. Their eyes followed Hannah, not empty anymore, but present. One night, checking the feed from a hotel room in London, Nathan saw something that made him stop breathing. Hannah was still there, hours past her shift, sitting between the girls, holding their hands, tears on her face. "Lord," she whispered, "these beautiful girls, the world keeps telling them they can't, but I see them trying, and trying is where you start miracles." She kissed Bella's forehead, then Charlotte's. "You're stronger than anyone knows, and God sees you." Nathan stared at the screen. Something cracked open in his chest, something he'd locked away the day Rebecca died. He didn't fire Hannah. Week by week, his daughters came back to life. Then, Dr. Sarah Chen called. "Mr. James, I need to tell you something. Bella and Charlotte's muscle response has improved significantly. I haven't seen progress like this since before the accident." That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. He searched. Spinal cord injury, children recovery. Pages of research appeared. Neuroplasticity, neural pathways reforming. Children's brains, bypassing damage. It was all there. Published studies, medical proof. And he'd never looked. Not once in 3 years. He'd taken the first doctor's word as final. Buried hope with Rebecca. Watched his daughters through screens instead of holding them. Hannah, making $22 an hour, had given them what his fortune couldn't buy. She believed. And she made them believe. 5 weeks in, Nathan was in London closing a deal. Exhausted. About to board his flight home. He pulled out his phone. One last check before takeoff. Motion alert. Playroom. He opened the app. And what he saw stopped his heart. But before you see what happened next, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me where you're watching from. Maybe this story found you for a reason. 2 wheelchairs, empty, sitting against the wall like discarded props. Nathan's stomach dropped. His first thought was panic. Where are they? Then the camera angle shifted, and he saw them, Bella and Charlotte. Standing in the middle of the playroom, their legs shaking, their small bodies wobbling, but upright. On their own feet, Hannah knelt 5 feet away, arms stretched wide, tears pouring down her face. Come on, babies, you can do this. I'm right here. Bella moved first. Her right foot lifted, trembling, uncertain, then touched down. 1 step. Charlotte watched her sister, then followed. Her left foot dragged slightly, but she corrected, planted it, moved forward. 2 steps. They were walking. Nathan's phone hit the airport floor. His back slammed against the wall. Business people rushed past him toward the gate, annoyed at the man blocking the walkway. He didn't see them. He only saw the screen, his daughters collapsing into Hannah's arms, exhausted, triumphant. I knew it, Hannah sobbed. I knew you could. The man who'd built a tech empire on certainty stood frozen in Heathrow Airport, watching everything he thought he knew shatter on a 5-inch screen. 3 years ago, it was raining. Nathan remembers that. The rain, how it sounded against the hotel window in London while he was on a call with investors. Numbers, projections, things that felt important at the time. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Mr. James? A woman's voice. Shaking. There's been an accident. Your wife. She didn't make it. Your daughters are in surgery at Mass General. The room tilted. Nathan grabbed the edge of the desk. What do you mean she didn't make it? I'm so sorry. A drunk driver ran a red light. The impact. It was immediate. But your daughters are alive. They're in surgery now. Rebecca was driving home from the girls' dance recital. Bella and Charlotte, 3 years old, in their pink tutus, probably still buzzing about the music and the twirling. Rebecca always let them stay up a little late on recital nights. Nathan doesn't remember booking the flight, just being on it. 8 hours from London to Boston, the longest hours of his life. He stared out the window at black sky and kept seeing Rebecca's face, her laugh, the way she'd call him every night when he traveled, holding the phone up so the girls could say goodnight. Daddy, when are you coming home? Soon, baby. Soon. He landed at sunrise. A cab to the hospital, fluorescent lights, sterile hallways. A doctor with tired eyes waiting for him outside the ICU. Mr. James, your daughters are stable. But there was significant trauma to their spinal cords, L1, L2 vertebrae. We won't know the full extent for a few days, but you need to prepare yourself. They may never walk again. Nathan nodded. He heard the words, but they didn't register. Not yet. Where's my wife? The doctor's face changed. I'll take you to her. Rebecca was in the morgue. Cold. Gone. Nathan held her hand anyway. It didn't feel like her hand anymore. He whispered, I'm sorry. I should have been there. I should have been home. She didn't answer. Upstairs, Bella and Charlotte lay in separate beds, tubes and wires everywhere. Nathan stood between them, holding each small hand through the rails. Their eyes were closed. Their chests rose and fell with the help of machines. They were alive, but broken. And Rebecca, the woman who'd wanted them more than anything, who'd prayed for them, who'd painted clouds on their nursery ceiling, was gone. Nathan looked at his daughters and felt the weight of it crush him. Rebecca's gone, and the girls she loved more than her own life will never dance again. Day 3. Nathan hadn't slept, hadn't left the hospital. He sat in a plastic chair between the girls' beds, watching monitors beep, watching nurses come and go, watching his daughters breathe. Dr. Richard Pasternak walked in that morning with a folder under his arm and the kind of face doctors wear when they're about to destroy you. Mr. James, can we talk in the conference room? Nathan didn't want to leave the girls, but he followed. The room smelled like old coffee and sanitizer. Doctor. Pasternak pulled up scans on a screen, images of Bella and Charlotte's spines that looked like roads after an earthquake. L1, L2 spinal cord damage. Both girls. Severe trauma. He pointed to spots on the scan that meant nothing to Nathan's exhausted eyes. We've run extensive tests. Motor function below the injury site is severely compromised. Nathan's throat closed. What does that mean? It means independent walking is highly unlikely. Possibly never. The word never hung in the air like smoke. "They're 3 years old," Nathan said, his voice breaking. 3. "Doctor." Pasternak's face softened, but his words didn't. "I understand, but pediatric spinal cord injuries at this level, the prognosis is clear. We need to focus on what they can do. Upper body strength, adaptive mobility, quality of life. Quality of life." Like that was supposed to comfort him. Nathan walked out of that room and called every specialist he could find. Johns Hopkins, a pediatric neurologist in Germany, a rehabilitation center in Switzerland that claimed they had experimental treatments. He flew them in. Spent $200,000 in the first month alone. Custom wheelchairs, robotic therapy equipment, consultations that led nowhere. Nothing changed. Bella stopped talking as much. Her bright chatter, "Daddy, look! Daddy, watch me!" faded into silence. Charlotte cried at night, asking for Mommy, and Nathan didn't know how to explain that Mommy wasn't coming back. They sat in their wheelchairs by the window, watching other kids play in the park across the street. Their eyes, Rebecca's eyes, grew distant. Nathan watched from his office, paralyzed by his own helplessness. Rebecca's funeral was on a cold Thursday. Small service. Nathan could barely stand. The girls didn't understand why Mommy was in a box, why people kept crying, why Daddy's hands wouldn't stop shaking. At the grave, Nathan knelt in the mud and whispered, "I'll take care of them. I swear to God, I'll take care of them." But the words felt empty, hollow, because how do you take care of something you can't fix? He buried Rebecca that day, and somewhere between the hospital and the cemetery, between the scans and the verdict and the wheelchairs that would never leave Nathan, buried his hope right next to her. The girls would never walk. The doctors said so. And doctors don't lie about things like that. So he stopped praying for miracles. He just tried to survive. Nathan hired the first nanny 6 weeks after the funeral. Her name was Elena, mid-30s, pediatric nursing degree. She came from an agency that charged $3,000 just for the placement fee. She smiled when she met the girls, spoke softly, said all the right things. "I'll take good care of them, Mr. James. I promise." Nathan wanted to believe her. The first week felt okay. Elena followed the therapy schedule, kept the girls clean, fed, medicated on time. Nathan checked in from his office downtown, watched through the baby monitor he'd set up in the therapy room. Week 2, he noticed something. Elena on her phone. A lot. He told himself it was fine. Everyone checks their phone. But then he came home early one Thursday and heard crying. He walked into the therapy room and found Bella and Charlotte in their wheelchairs, tears streaming down their faces. Bella's therapy session was supposed to be happening. Instead, Elena was on FaceTime with someone, laughing, ignoring them completely. Nathan fired her on the spot. The second nanny lasted longer. Margaret, older woman, 20 years of experience. References that called her a saint. Nathan thought maybe this time would be different. Then he went to Tokyo for a business trip. He couldn't sleep, so at 3 in the morning he opened the monitor app on his phone. Margaret was asleep on the couch. The girls were calling from their beds, small voices, scared. "Hello? We need help." Margaret didn't move. Nathan saw Charlotte had fallen from her wheelchair earlier. There was a bruise on her arm. Margaret's daily report said nothing about it. He fired her over video call. Nannies, 3, 4, 5, they blurred together. One stole Rebecca's sapphire necklace, the one Nathan had given her on their 10th anniversary. Another invited her boyfriend into the penthouse while Nathan was in London. He saw it on the monitors, a stranger in his home, in the space where his daughters slept. But number 6 broke something inside him that didn't heal. Her name was Jessica, 24. The girls actually liked her. For the first time since Rebecca died, Nathan heard them laugh, heard them ask when Jessica was coming back. He started to let his guard down, started to believe maybe, just maybe, someone could actually care. Then the article dropped. Inside billionaire tech mogul's tragic home, exclusive photos, pictures of the therapy room, the girls' medical equipment, their wheelchairs, private family photos Rebecca had hung on the walls. Jessica sold it all to a gossip site for $5,000. The article quoted her, "He's never there. Those poor girls are basically orphans with money." Nathan's lawyers got the story pulled within hours, but the damage was done. His daughter's suffering had become entertainment. Strangers online debated whether he was a good father, whether the girls would be better off in foster care. Nathan sat in his office that night, staring at the article on his screen, and something inside him went cold. He stopped seeing people, started seeing threats. Within a week, he'd installed 17 cameras throughout the penthouse. Every room, every angle, feeds that went straight to his phone, his tablet, his laptop. He could watch from anywhere, New York, London, Dubai. He watched obsessively. On flights, in meetings, at 2 in the morning when sleep wouldn't come, looking for the next lie, the next betrayal, the next person who would hurt his daughters for money or attention or because they just didn't care. Control became the only thing that made sense. When nanny number 8 quit via text after 1 week, "This is too depressing. I can't do this." Nathan didn't even feel it anymore. He just opened another recruitment file and waited for number 9. Hannah David walked into Nathan's office on a Monday morning. 28, black woman, nursing scrubs under a clean jacket. She sat across from his desk, hands folded, back straight. Her eyes didn't wander around the room like the others, didn't look impressed by the floor-to-ceiling windows or the view of Boston Harbor. She just looked at him. Nathan barely glanced at her resume. Pediatric nursing degree, 3 years in the NICU, good references. It didn't matter. They all had good references. He slid a thick folder across the desk. "Miss David, I'll be direct. You're the 9th person I'm hiring for this position." Hannah opened the folder, scanned the pages. Medical protocols, therapy schedules, medication charts, emergency procedures. Nathan kept talking, his voice flat, rehearsed. "I need absolute compliance. No improvising. No encouraging unrealistic expectations." He paused. "My daughters have a diagnosis. Spinal cord injury, L1, L2. They will not walk. I need someone who understands that and respects the medical reality." Hannah looked up from the folder, met his eyes. "Mr. James, with respect, your daughters don't need someone to respect their diagnosis." She let the words sit for a moment. "They need someone to respect them." The silence that followed felt heavy. Nathan's jaw tightened. "I'm hiring you to follow the medical plan, not to have opinions." "I understand." But the way she said it, calm, unwavering, made Nathan think she understood something else entirely, something he wasn't saying. He pushed a contract toward her. $22 an hour, Monday through Friday, 7 to 6. You'll be monitored via security cameras at all times. Any deviation from protocol will result in immediate termination. Hannah signed without hesitation. Nathan watched her signature, expecting her to fail within a week. Hannah's first day started at 7 sharp. Nathan watched from his office downtown, tablet propped on his desk during a conference call. Hannah entered the therapy room, greeted the night nurse, reviewed the girls' sleep charts. Then she did something Nathan didn't expect. She sat down on the floor, cross-legged, eye level with Bella and Charlotte in their wheelchairs. She didn't start the therapy routine, didn't check the schedule, just sat there, silent, present. Nathan's finger hovered over the intercom button. What is she doing? But he didn't press it. He watched. Hannah wasn't looking at her phone, wasn't distracted. She was studying the girls, the way Bella's hands rested on the armrests, the way Charlotte's head tilted slightly when a car horn sounded outside, the rhythm of their breathing. 10 minutes passed. Then Hannah spoke. "Good morning, Bella. Good morning, Charlotte. My name is Hannah. I'm going to be spending time with you." Simple, genuine, like she was meeting people, not patients. Bella's eyes shifted toward her, just slightly, but Nathan saw it. Something in his chest stirred, unfamiliar, uncomfortable. He closed the tablet and tried to focus on the meeting, but his mind kept drifting back to that image. Hannah, on the floor, his daughters, looking at her. Like maybe, for the first time in a long time, someone was actually seeing them. Nathan told himself it didn't mean anything, but he didn't stop watching. Day 4, Hannah brought a speaker into the therapy room. Small thing, portable. She pulled it from her bag, set it on the shelf, and pressed play. Gospel music filled the room, old hymns, the kind Hannah's grandmother used to sing on Sunday mornings. Nathan was in a meeting when the notification came through. He opened the app on his phone under the conference table. This wasn't in the protocol. The girls had scheduled music therapy on Thursdays with a licensed therapist. Random music wasn't part of the plan. His thumb hovered over the intercom. One press, and he could stop this. Then Bella turned her head. Just a few degrees. toward the sound. Nathan's breath caught. His daughter, who spent most days staring at the same spot on the wall, turned her head toward the music. Hannah noticed too. She didn't make a fuss, just smiled softly and adjusted the volume. Charlotte's leg twitched against the footrest. Nathan leaned closer to his phone screen, the meeting voices fading around him. Week 2. Nathan pulled up footage from an afternoon he'd missed. Hannah was on the floor with Charlotte. She had Charlotte's small legs in her hands, moving them gently. Left, right, rhythmic, patient, like muscle memory, like walking. Nathan's jaw clenched. No therapist prescribed this. She was breaking every rule. He reached for his phone to call her. End this. Then he heard it. Charlotte laughed. Not big, just a small sound, barely more than breath, but it was there. Nathan set the phone down, stared at the screen. When was the last time he'd heard that sound? That evening, Hannah read to the girls. Nathan watched from his office. She sat on the floor, book open in her lap. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, she read, changing her voice for different characters. Bella smiled. Actually smiled. Nathan's throat tightened. He hadn't seen his daughter smile in over a year. Late one night, checking the cameras from a hotel in London, Nathan saw something that made him freeze. 11:30. Hannah should have left hours ago. But there she was, sitting between the girls' wheelchairs, holding both their hands, tears on her face. Nathan turned up the volume. Lord, Hannah whispered, these beautiful girls. The world keeps saying they can't, but I've seen them trying. And trying is where you start miracles. She kissed Bella's forehead, then Charlotte's. You're stronger than anyone knows, and God sees you. He sees every bit of you. Nathan sat in the dark hotel room, staring at the screen. Something cracked in his chest, something he'd locked away the night Rebecca died. He should fire her. She was deviating from everything, filling his daughters with hope that would only break them when nothing changed. But something was changing. Bella laughed at Hannah's jokes now. Charlotte's eyes followed her around the room, not blank anymore, but present. Both girls held their heads higher, longer. The therapy room felt different, warmer, alive. Nathan told himself it meant nothing. Doctors were clear. This was temporary, false hope, but he couldn't stop watching. And he didn't fire her. Week 3 became week 4, and Nathan started wondering if maybe, just maybe, he'd been watching for the wrong things all along. Dr. Sarah Chen called on a Thursday afternoon. Nathan was in Berlin for a tech conference, barely paying attention to the panel he was supposed to be moderating. His phone buzzed. He stepped out into the hallway. Mr. James, I need to talk to you about Bella and Charlotte. Nathan's stomach dropped. What happened? Are they okay? They're fine. Better than fine, actually. Dr. Chen's voice carried something Nathan hadn't heard in 3 years. Hope. I examined them today. Their muscle tone has improved. Significantly. Nathan leaned against the wall. What do you mean, improved? The core strength, the leg response to stimulation. Mr. James, I haven't seen progress like this since before the accident. She paused. What changed? I hired a new nanny. Hannah, whatever she's doing, it's working. I'm adjusting the official therapy protocol to incorporate her methods. Nathan ended the call and stood in the empty hallway, heart pounding. Progress, real progress, documented by a doctor. He didn't know what to do with that. That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. 3 in the morning in a hotel room in Berlin. He opened his laptop instead of the camera feeds, searched. Spinal cord injury recovery children. Pages flooded the screen. Medical journals, research papers, case studies. He started reading. Journal of Pediatric Rehabilitation. Early intensive intervention in children with incomplete SCI demonstrates remarkable neural adaptation. Stanford study. Pediatric brains exhibit extraordinary neuroplasticity. New neural pathways conform, bypassing damaged areas. Toronto case study. 5-year-old with L, 1 injury, walking with assistance after 18 months of intensive therapy. Every article said the same thing. Early intervention, consistent stimulation, belief in possibility. Children's brains could heal, could adapt, could find new ways around damage. The critical window was 0 to 7 years old. Bella and Charlotte were 6, still in the window. Nathan sat in the dark, laptop light illuminating his face, and felt the weight of it crush him. It was all here, published, proven, supported by research, and he'd never looked. Not once in 3 years. He'd taken that first doctor's word, possibly never, and turned it into definitely never in his mind. He'd accepted defeat before the fight started, buried hope with Rebecca, spent 3 years watching his daughters through screens instead of fighting for them. Hannah, making $22 an hour, had done in 4 weeks what his millions couldn't do in 3 years. Because she believed, and he'd stopped believing the night his wife died. Nathan closed the laptop, put his head in his hands. What have I done? The question hung in the silence. He'd hired the best doctors, bought the best equipment, but he'd given up on his daughters, told himself there was no hope, because hope hurt too much. Because if he hoped and nothing changed, it would destroy him. So he'd chosen control instead, cameras instead of presence, distance instead of love. And his daughters had paid the price. Nathan opened his laptop again, typed an email to Dr. Chen at 4:17 in the morning. Work directly with Hannah. Whatever she needs, equipment, training, resources approved, no budget, just help them. He hit send, then pulled up the camera feed and watched his daughters sleep. "I'm sorry," he whispered to the screen. "I'm so sorry." Nathan came home 2 days early. He'd been in Dubai for a tech summit, but he couldn't focus. Couldn't sit through another presentation. His mind kept drifting back to the research, to the camera feeds, to his daughters trying. He landed in Boston on a Thursday afternoon and went straight home. 3 o'clock. The penthouse was quiet except for voices coming from the therapy room. Hannah singing, the girls laughing. Nathan stood outside the door, listening. Then he pushed it open. Hannah was on the floor with Bella, doing those leg movements, the ones Nathan had seen on the cameras. She looked up. No fear, no surprise, just calm acknowledgement. "Mr. James, you're home early." Nathan's voice came out harder than he intended. "What exactly are you doing?" Hannah didn't stop the movements. "Motor pattern training helps build neural pathways. That's not in the protocol." "No, sir, it's not." Nathan stepped into the room. The air felt tight. "I gave you specific instructions. Follow the medical plan. No improvising." Hannah gently lowered Bella's legs and stood up, faced him. "Mr. James, the medical plan you gave me was about maintenance, not recovery. The doctors gave you a prognosis based on statistics." Her voice stayed even. "But there was fire underneath. They looked at scans and charts and told you what usually happens." She took a breath. "They didn't tell you what's possible." Nathan's chest tightened. "They're specialists, decades of experience, hundreds of cases. Have they seen your daughters?" The question landed like a punch. "Excuse me?" Hannah's eyes didn't waver. "Your girls aren't statistics, Mr. James. They're not case studies. They're Bella and Charlotte. They're 6 years old. They love music and stories, and they respond when someone believes in them." Her voice cracked slightly. "They deserve someone who sees them, not their diagnosis." Nathan felt his defenses crumbling. "You're filling their heads with false hope. When this doesn't work, and it won't, they'll be devastated." Hannah looked at him for a long moment. "Mr. James, they're 6. They don't know what false hope is. They only know what they feel." Pause. "And right now, they feel someone believing in them." Softer. Maybe for the first time. The words cut through everything Nathan had built to protect himself. Because she was right. He'd been watching his daughters through cameras for 3 years. But he hadn't been present. Hadn't been their father. Just their warden. Hannah turned back to Bella, resumed the exercises, dismissing him. Nathan stood there, frozen. He wanted to fire her, wanted to defend himself, but his feet wouldn't move. Deep down, a voice whispered, "What if she's right?" He walked out without another word. But he didn't fire her. That night, Nathan sat in his office, pulled up the research again, watched footage of Hannah with the girls, over and over. Her patience, their progress, the way they looked at her like she was safe, like she saw them. "What if she's right?" he whispered to the empty room. The question hung there, and for the first time in 3 years, Nathan didn't have an answer that made him feel in control. Week 5. Nathan was in London closing a deal with European investors. He'd been gone 4 days, checking the cameras constantly during meetings, at dinner, at 2 in the morning when sleep wouldn't come, watching Hannah's consistency, the leg patterns, the music, The way she whispered encouragement like prayers. The girls were responding more every day. Small things, a smile, a twitch, a moment of focus. But Nathan was afraid to believe it meant anything. Thursday afternoon, Heathrow Airport, Gate 23. Nathan's flight back to Boston was boarding in 10 minutes. He pulled out his phone. One last check before takeoff. Motion alert. Playroom. He opened the app, expecting routine movement. Hannah, doing afternoon exercises. The image loaded slowly. Then, Nathan's world stopped. 2 wheelchairs. Against the wall. Empty. His breath caught. Where are they? The camera angle shifted, following motion, and then he saw them, Bella and Charlotte, standing in the center of the playroom, their legs shaking, their small bodies wobbling, but upright, on their own feet. Hannah knelt 5 feet away, arms stretched wide, tears streaming down her face. Come to me, babies. You can do this. I'm right here. Bella moved first. Her right foot lifted, trembling, uncertain, hovered in the air, then touched down, 6 inches forward. 1 step. Charlotte watched her sister. Then her left foot lifted, dragged slightly. She corrected, planted it, shifted her weight, moved the right. 2 steps. They were walking. His daughters were walking. Nathan's phone slipped from his fingers, clattered onto the airport floor. People turned, stared. He didn't see them. His knees buckled. He grabbed the back of a chair to stay upright. Through the phone speaker on the ground, he heard Hannah's voice crack with joy. Yes. Oh, yes. Look at you. You're doing it. The girls reached her. Both collapsed into her arms, exhausted but triumphant. Hannah gathered them close, sobbing. I knew it. I knew you could. I never stopped knowing. Nathan slid down into the chair, his hands shaking so hard he could barely pick up the phone. Business people walked past, annoyed at the man blocking the boarding area. An airline agent approached. Sir, final boarding call. Nathan couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. His chest cracked open. 3 years of grief, guilt, fear, it all came pouring out in gasping sobs he couldn't control. My daughters, he finally managed. They're walking. He picked up the phone with trembling hands. Watched the footage again. Bella's steps, Charlotte's determination, Hannah's tears. I'm sorry, he whispered to the screen. God, I'm so sorry. The boarding announcement echoed through the terminal. Final call for Flight BA 213 to Boston. Nathan stood on shaking legs. Walked to the gate agent. I need the next flight to Boston. Sir, this is the next direct flight. We're boarding now. I can't wait 7 hours. What's the fastest route? He booked a connection through New York. Got him home in 9 hours instead of 7, but it got him moving. He had to get home, had to see them, had to hold them. Before this, miracle disappeared like a dream. 9 hours. Nathan didn't sleep, didn't eat, just watched the footage on loop. Bella's first step, Charlotte following, Hannah's tears, his daughters walking. The plane touched down in Boston at 5:30 in the morning. Grey sky, cold air. Nathan took a cab straight to the penthouse. The doorman looked surprised. Mr. James? Thought you were in London until Saturday. Nathan barely heard him. He took the elevator up, hands still shaking. He could hear voices from the therapy room. Hannah's gentle coaching, the girls laughing. Nathan stopped in the doorway. Hannah sat on the floor, the twins in her lap, all 3 reading a picture book together. Bella leaned against Hannah's shoulder. Charlotte had fallen asleep, her small hand holding Hannah's finger. The wheelchairs sat in the corner, unused. Hannah looked up. Their eyes met. Mr. James, you're home early. Nathan's voice broke. I saw them, on the camera. I saw them walk. Hannah smiled softly. They've been practicing all week. Wanted to surprise you. How? Nathan's throat closed. How did you know they could? Hannah looked down at the girls, then back at him. I didn't know, Mr. James. I just refused to believe they couldn't. Something in Nathan's chest completely shattered, the last wall he'd been holding. He crossed the room on unsteady legs, knelt beside them. His hands shook as he touched Bella's face, then Charlotte's. Charlotte woke, saw him, smiled. Daddy, you're home. I am, baby. I'm home. Bella's eyes lit up. Did you see, Daddy? We walked. Nathan's throat tightened. I saw, sweetheart. You were so brave. Hannah said we could do it, Charlotte whispered. She said trying is how miracles start. Nathan pulled all three into his arms. His daughters. And this woman who'd saved them when he'd given up. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry." To Hannah, for the cameras, for not trusting, for not being here. His voice failed. Hannah's hand covered his. "They needed their father, Mr. James, not a surveillance system." He nodded, unable to speak. Held his daughters tighter. For 3 years, he'd poured millions into maintaining their limitations. Hannah, making $22 an hour, had given them something worth more than his entire fortune. She believed when everyone else had stopped. "Thank you," Nathan whispered. "You gave them their lives back." Hannah shook her head gently. "No, Mr. James. They gave themselves their lives back. I just reminded them they were stronger than anyone said they were." Nathan looked at his daughters. Really looked. Not at broken children to manage, but at warriors who'd fought their way back. Rebecca would have loved Hannah. Would have been so proud of these girls. "Stay," Nathan said. "Please, not as a nanny, as family. You've done more for them than I knew how to do." "I'm not going anywhere," Hannah promised. That afternoon, Nathan called his assistant, cancelled the next month of business trips. He was staying home. Done watching his daughters' lives through a camera. He sat on the playroom floor, Hannah beside him, watched Bella and Charlotte practice their steps, slow, wobbly, but determined. His phone sat forgotten in his office. He didn't need the cameras anymore. For the first time in 3 years, Nathan wasn't afraid of tomorrow, because he finally understood. Miracles don't need permission. They don't need surveillance systems or control. They just need someone brave enough to believe they're possible. And a father willing to be present for them. That night, Nathan read bedtime stories to the girls. Hannah had gone home, but she'd be back tomorrow. The girls fell asleep in their beds, real beds now, not medical equipment. Nathan kissed each forehead, whispered, "Rebecca, they walked today. You would have been so proud." He walked to the window, looked out at the city lights. The camera in the corner blinked red, still recording. But no one was watching. Not anymore.